So Sharon and myself, we are going to be reading various quotes of the Golden Rule. Baha, hurt not others in the way that you yourself would find harmful.
Buddhism, hurt not others with that which pains yourself.
Confucianism, do not unto others what you would not have them do unto you.
Hinduism, this is the sum of duty. Do not unto others that which would cause you pain if done to you.
Humanism, don't do things that you wouldn't want have done to you.
Islam, not one of you truly believes until you wish for others that which you wish for yourself.
Jainism, one should treat all beings as they themselves would be treated.
Judaism, what is hurtful to yourself, do not do to your fellow. That is the whole of the Torah, and the remainder is but commentary. Go learn it.
Parisian, do as you would be done.
Roman antiquity, the law imprinted on the hearts of all people is to love the members of society as themselves.
Shintoism, the heart of the person before you is a mirror. See there your own form.
Sikhism, as thou deemest thyself, so deem others. Then shalt thou become a partner in heaven.
Sufism, the basis of Sufism is consideration of the heart and the feelings of others. If you haven't the will to be gladdened by someone's heart, then at least be aware lest you hurt someone's heart. For on our path, no sin exists but this.
Taoism, regard your neighbor's gain as your own gain, and regard your neighbor's loss as your own loss.
Wikia, and it's to harm no one, to do what thou wilt. For example, do whatever you want to do as long as it harms nobody, including yourself.
Yoruba proverb, one going to take a pointed stick to pinch a baby bird should first try it on himself to see how it feels.
Do you have any idea how to say that last one? Zoratourism, whatever is disagreeable to yourself, do not unto others. The golden rules.
So, what is the Unitarian Universalist version of the Golden Rule? Pop quiz, yes. I heard you calling on Jesus. Maybe Jesus will help. I normally go for little baby Jesus. Yeah, any? Okay, that's the idea. Now, how about the principles? Do we have a principle? Jeff? What do you read up there? We affirm and promote respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. So that, one could argue, is the golden rule within Unitarian Universalist principles. Now, I mentioned the last time I was here about the revision of the principles, right? So this seventh principle is been rewarded, and just a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, the commission doing the study has proposed different language, and this is the language. And it's all under the interdependence banner. I quote, we honor the interdependent web of all existence. We covenant to cherish earth and all beings by creating and nurturing relationships of care and respect with humility and reverence. We acknowledge our place in the great web of life. and we work to repair harm or harmed and damaged relationships. How about them apples? Now some of you... Sorry, Jeff, I'm really making you work this morning. Some of you might have thought, well, you know, there's some people leading worship this morning. Maybe one day, you know, I will step up here, or I'll roll up here, or I'll lead from my chair something in service. And I believe that service is the work of the people. So you don't have to wait for a future opportunity. I have 2 opportunities this morning. There are 2 other versions of the golden rule, and I wonder if we have 2 volunteers. Maybe you never spoken on this mic before, and this might be your opportunity, because we're going to surround you and hold you with love and appreciation. Because, you know, getting into heaven might be that. You might be asked, like, did you ever speak in church? I want to make sure you get in. So, anyone? It's large font in a little card, and I'll bring you the mic. Okay, there's one volunteer here. It's a plant. He came with me.
I'm the chauffeur. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. Man did not weave the web of life. He is merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. Chief Seattle?
Thank you, Chris. One more volunteer? This might be your entrance into heaven at stake here. Yes, okay. Thank you, Molly.
Thank you. In everything, do to others as you would have them do to you, for this is the law and the prophets. Matthew 7:12.
Thank you. That's within Christianity. You can keep that. And Greg, thank you for volunteering. I'll probably circle back. So how about deep in breath? Because we took a little round around the world. And I will reintroduce myself with some descriptors for the benefit of those that may not witness to all this gloriousness in visual form. I'm the Reverend Alex da Silva Soto. My pronouns are they, them, and theirs. I'm 51, shaved head, trimmed beard. I wear glasses, and I'm wearing a keffiyeh, blue and white keffiyeh, a kami, a black kami, and a haori, Japanese haori, this morning. And my socks are rainbow because, you know, we still have to remember our siblings, especially our trans siblings, that continue to be segregated, discriminated, and even eliminated from the web of all existence. So here's a reading titled Choreography of Neurodiversity by Aaron Manning for the Wild. Oh, I forgot, and I just touched it, and I'm wearing a native necklace from Brazil. That's where I'm from. We breathe in oxygen. We're involved in the gravitational field. We're made up of water and bacteria. So whatever we are is not separate from the earth. The other aspect of neurodiversity that's really important is the perceptual field. If it's open to all of the nuances of its non-separation from the world, a kind of difference with that separability allows us to grasp or to engage with a really different notion of ecology, and to recognize a much more vital relationship between body and world. We are all susceptible to that thinking that we are an individual, that we are separate, that we are strong in that separateness. It's very systematic of that modality of thinking. how am I going to change things? We reduce the complexity of the world, we bring it on to ourselves, and then, of course, we're struck by the impossibility of it. End quote. So, beloveds, little did I know that when the worship team told me that there were some themes for the month, and the theme for this month is interconnectedness, right? And when I start noodling, little did I know that we would be in the space and time that we are, as not only as a race, but as a planet. The challenges that we are facing, the overwhelming state of affairs that all those who are paying attention may very reasonably experience these days. So I'm not going to unpack a lot of that. I have a feeling I might not need to go there. I'm just acknowledging that. But little did I know that we would be feeling, and I quote, the tugs on the strings that tie us together, from Palestine to Sudan, from Yemen to Congo, from Israel to Ukraine. The arms are reaching out for freedom and refuge. Pull on our heartstrings. Pull on our heartstrings. So the title that was proposed a while back was Indra's Net, and part of it. So I'll go into that title. Still believe that there's a purpose for it, and maybe even serendipitously. So Indra's Net is the part of the traditional Buddhist and Hindu cosmology. The set of metaphors illustrates interdependence and emptiness. And I quote, in the realm of the god Indra is a vast net that stretches infinitely in all directions. In each eye of the net is a single brilliant, perfect jewel. Each jewel also reflects every other jewel, infinite in number, and each of the reflected images of the jewels bears the image of all the other jewels, infinite to infinite. Whatever affects one jewel affects them all. The metaphor illustrates the interpenetration of all phenomena. Everything contains everything else. At the same time, each individual thing is not hindered by or confused with all the other individual things. Indra's Net, ancient concept. Now, Greg Levoy puts it this way in the Callings, Finding and Following an Authentic Life. I don't know if you're interested in that. Interested in authentic life? Okay, cool. All right. So here's how he puts it. Myth grows not in the soil of any particular place, but in the humus of humanity itself. We are not strangers to each other. We drink from different wells, but from the same aquifer. A Hindu myth about the god Indra offers a beautiful illustration of this unitive principle. Indra once wove a net to encompass the world. In each knot he fastened a bell, thus nothing could stir, not a person, not a leaf on a tree, not a single emotion, without ringing a bell, which would in turn set all others to ringing. So we have this myth, we have this metaphor of this great web, and we're hearing how our own Unitarian Universalist tradition works with that connectivity, right? Another word for it could be the matrix, right? The connection of all things. And I saw some other nerds going up like that. Okay, yeah, right? Nerd is a good thing. Nerd is a good thing. So here we have this imagery of the jewel in each intersection. And jewels are what? Precious and beautiful. And who doesn't want them blinged? Right? And now in this other version here, we hear that those connections, those intersections, have a little bell. And what do bells do? Wake us up, right? Keep us awake, connected. And bells resonate. And that resonance of the bell will resonate with your heart, will get your heart to resonate with other hearts. So I thought I would bring these two different versions of the Indra's net. Now, how about the amplitude-hedrons? 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 Amplitude-hedrons. Have you heard of amplitude-hedrons? Okay. 10 years ago, Wired magazine reported that physicists discovered a jewel-like geometric object that dramatically simplifies calculations of particle interactions and challenges the notion that space and time are fundamental components of reality. Yeah, right? Okay, there's more. This is completely new and very much simpler than anything that has been done before, said Andrew Hodges, a mathematical physicist at Oxford University who has been following the work. I continue. The revelation that particle interactions, the most basic events in nature, may be consequences of geometric significantly advances at decades, long before reformulated quantum field theory, the body of laws describing elementary particles and their interactions that were previously calculated with mathematical formulas, thousands of terms long, can now be described by computing the volume of the corresponding jewel-like amplitude-hedron, which yields an equivalent one-term expression. The degree of efficiency is mind-boggling, said Jacob Bojali, a theoretical physicist at Harvard University and an author of the first of two papers detailing the new idea. You can easily do, on paper, computations that were infeasibly even with a computer before. The new geometric version of quantum field theory could also facilitate the search for a theory of quantum gravity that would seamlessly connect the large and small scale pictures of the universe. Attempts thus far to incorporate gravity into the laws of physics at the quantum scale have run up against nonsensical infinities and deep paradoxes. The amplitude-hedron, or similar geometric object, could help by removing two deeply rooted principles of physics: locality and unitarity. Is your head hurting? Okay. So scientists have continued to advance in this research field in the last 10 years. And a lot of people have been thinking about it and talking about it and posting about it. And the terminology of quantum entanglement is buzzing, right, in the internet. Entanglement, quantum entanglement. I know a lot about hair entanglements and relational entanglements, but quantum entanglements have been very popular. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, someone who's making all of these head-hurting things accessible to humans like me. So this is what he posted. According to quantum physics, a particle vibrating due to your sound when you speak can affect a molecule inside a star at the edge of the universe instantly. Right? This phenomenon is known as quantum entanglement. The greatest illusion of this universe is the illusion of separation. Getting a little simpler? A little more digestible? Okay. Now, how about Albert Einstein? And I'm not going to complicate it a little more, because I think he is just brilliant. This is how he famously called the phenomenon. Spooky action at a distance. So when anybody comes around and start talking about, oh, quantum entanglements, this, that, and the other, like, ooh, spooky action at a distance. Or is it even at a distance? Now that scientists are letting us know and confirming that this heartbeat, these sounds that we make, are connected and are resonant to other particles, other places, other bodies throughout the universe. Some may claim that this effect is almost negligible. And I heard this, literally heard this. But aren't we already experiencing the deadly effects of what has been deemed negligible? Aren't many of the struggles of these days because somebody thought that somebody else or something else was not important, not part of the web, not connected, that we could just ignore it, neglect it? Aren't we feeling the environmental impacts of tiny human negligences? What is just the warming up of 1 degree, maybe 2? We'll be even cozier. Maybe we won't need AC. We're being forced to reconcile the little negligences, the incremental hikes in greed, hatred, and delusion, the reportedly negligible casualties of war. The surviving indigenous cultures across the globe have not forgotten about the interconnected web of all existence, and they have guided not only their principles, but their actions and their existence on those principles. And how the ignorance or the senseless destruction of any element, as tiny as it might be, will have an impact throughout creation. Winona LaDuke, an Ojibwe person, said this: whether we have wings or fins or roots or paws, we're all relatives. We're all relatives. And that brings me to the other part of the title, fancy title of, the interconnected web, or Indra's net, and the theories of relationality. So within the indigenous epistemology, there's some understanding there. But let me pause here. Do you remember what our volunteer for this day read in terms of the golden rule from Chief Seattle? Thank you, Chris. Whatever befalls the earth befalls the sons of the earth. Men did not weave the web of life. He's merely a strand in it. Whatever he does to the web, he does to himself. And I make some acknowledgement here because this is the English words. But I want to observe the very important fact that within indigenous cultures, there's more than male and female. And when you hear male here, I want to remark that it's a more expansive and inclusive concept. So relationality is a key aspect of indigenous epistemologies, how knowledge can be known. Relationality is the concept that we're all related to each other, to the natural environment, and to the spiritual world. And these relationships bring about interdependencies, the interconnection between sacred and secular and holism. Now, when I say, the sacred or spirituality, I understand that for some folks, those can be difficult terms, but I want to lift up my intention of those words and the expansiveness of my intentions around those words, that science for me, it's a spiritual discipline. It's inquiry, right? It's looking into the nature of things. So not to exclude, to include. Talking about science, the American Psychological Association defines relationality this way. Relational theory emphasizes the relational matrix, with relational having a broad integrative emphasis. This means relationships include our external relationships, our internalized patterns of relating, and relationships with the social cultural environment. It does this without ignoring our biological roots. So let's go back to Indra's net. So from the Dewdrop Dialogues, they publish online, but they also have podcasts. And this podcast was titled, lo and behold, Casting Indra's Net and Engaging in Compassionate Action. Conversation with Pamela Ayo Yetunde. And I quote, she talks about the distortion of humanity as a significant threat and the need to shake out the distortions within the interconnected net of existence, highlighting the scarcity mentality that fuels competition and the distortion of perceiving others as enemies or competitors. Ayo introduces something called the Platinum Rule, which encourages us to engage with others based on their unique needs and desires rather than projecting our own preferences on them. So we've been reflecting on the Golden Rule. Golden Rule reflected in different intersections, cultural intersections and traditions, religious and even secular. And within this quote, there's a reference to the Platinum Rule. Now, do you remember when you last heard of Platinum Rule, as far as I can tell? Do you remember hearing Platinum Rule anytime recently? Okay, your minister, Catherine, will be mad at you because on October 15th, she mentioned the Platinum Rule. But I'm one that needs to hear something 7 times before I learn. So I'm not blaming you, and she won't be mad at you. Yeah, just trying to connect these points, yes? So she mentioned the Platinum Rule. So I ask, are there any connections with our reflections also on the cost of love? Because that was the conversation, that's when we left off, when I was last here, about love, the cost of love, yeah? The connections. So the Golden Rule and the Platinum Rule are necessary in human relations, especially when humanity becomes a commodity. Humanity, or human, it's a commodity, and it's a privilege that only a few people can afford. Therefore, let me pause here with a succinct lesson from the Hindu sage, the Jamamutka, the liberated being, Bhagwan Siddha Ramana Maharshi. He was born in 1879 and concluded his human journey in 1950. So here's the lesson. He was asked, are we supposed to treat others? The answer, there are no others. So in my view, this transcends the Golden Rule, even the Platinum Rule. And it's a stretch, isn't it? Just like many of the terms I threw at you this morning. And whatever you say or do, and the reverberations, the resonances that you may embody being connected to the furthest body in the universe. Thank you, Siri. That's perfect. So with that in mind, I thought we would do a little exercise. And you were given a little string when you came in, and if you don't have one, we might be able to bring you one, or if you dropped it. You need one? You got one? Okay. So I want to invite you to hold on to that string. to feel it, because a lot of these things may be ungraspable, untangible, but you got something tangible in your hands. So hold on to that string. And keep breathing in and breathing out. And I will offer one reading from Oh Happy Danny. We're feeling it now. The tugs on the strings that tie us together. From Palestine to Sudan, from Yemen to Congo, from Israel to Ukraine. The arms reaching out for freedom and refuge pull on our heartstrings. How could they not? This is the inescapable network of mutuality, the single garment of destiny, the interrelatedness of all communities and states, as Dr. King puts it. Your soul should stir at the sight of injustice. Your heart should swell with empathy when witnessing oppression. If you're feeling the need to draw nearer, listen closer, dig deeper, this is the proof of interconnection. The certainty of the strings. This tug is asking something of you. Will you create, write, march, pray, connect, read, call, feel, give? The decision is yours. It doesn't always have to feel big to be meaningful. It doesn't have to feel loud to be heard. It doesn't have to be public to be legitimate. It has to be yours. The beauty of this is when I'm pulled one direction, you may be pulled in another. This is humanity. It is how we cover ground. Don't let your dissatisfaction with someone else's response distract you from where your tug leads you. Just go. It all matters. It's all felt. What a gift it is to be connected to each other. So now that you have one string, you're touching that one string, I want to invite you to offer that string to your neighbor and join your neighbor in tying it up. And it will be a time when the end of your string will need to be stretched to connect to another neighbor. So keep that connection going until all of our strings are connected. You're drawing those connections? Are you stretching your arms? Moving your body with whatever limitations your body may have? Are we finding our places in a connection? We're fishing for people. And there are people drowning and people having a hard time swimming. So keep fishing. Let's connect. And are you breathing as we get connected? Are you thinking of the stars very, very far away in the universe? Me too. Yes. So are we connected? Are you feeling connected? How is our cooperation working? If you're no longer holding to any parts of the string, I invite you to place your hand on your heart, feeling the heartbeat, your heartbeat, knowing that as your heart beats, the heartbeat of other humans next to you are synchronizing, that the heartbeats of all other sentient beings are synchronizing, the reverberation, the resonance of all these organisms are connecting with each other. So let us keep on breathing, keep connecting, and I'll close with a place in the heart as we continue to connect to our hearts and all hearts, all bodies. The one who is at play everywhere said, there's a place in the heart where everything meets. Go there if you want to find me. Mind, senses, soul, eternity, all are there. Are you there? Enter the welcoming vastness of the heart. Give yourself to it with total abandon. Quiet ecstasy is there, and a steady, regal sense of resting in a perfect spot. Once you know the way, the nature of attention will call you to return again and again and be saturated with knowing, I belong here. I am at home here. Answer that call. So let us answer that call with a song. How could anyone? The words will be on the screen in case you want to sing along. We'll